This past Monday night at 6:30 was our final Zoom meeting in our On Being Episcopalian class. 6 weeks of inquiry about the Episcopal Church. We had 10 people involved throughout the process, and I had a number of things I wanted to cover, but I also said to the gathered group at the beginning, is there anything during these 6 weeks that you'd like to cover? And this is the cover list. Nicene Creed, Bible, participating in faith community, mainline process, how do we differ? Catechism, Book of Common Prayer, what does evangelism mean in the Episcopal Church? What does evangelical mean in the Episcopal Church? Resurrection, sin, how is the church organized, alien communion, married, ordination, confirmation, baptism, inclusion. How do we do it? That's a lot to cover in 6 weeks. So I came prepared each week with a certain agenda, and I'll be honest, we didn't get to everything. But we had some really great conversations. And this last session, my start place was social justice. Specifically, how does the church go about it? And I started at the parish level with our own ministries like the food pantry, joining movements and ministries of others. It might be another church that does a particular thing that we are part of. It might be off the passion of an individual who's willing to organize on the grassroots level, study, prayer, collecting money to give to an organization through the name of the church, and action. And then I went to the diocesan level, and I used the resolution from last week on inviting all on a journey towards racial equity. And I said that on the diocesan level, this type of resolution is really helpful because we list the reality, and then we say, here are some different ways for congregations to engage these realities, and invite people to figure it out with a lot of resources on their own, and then work together with other congregations. And this topic of racial equity has been raised by our Peace and Justice Commission. So this was a topic that came out of a group of Utah Episcopalians. So that's a great way that the diocese gets us organized in social justice. And then I turned to the worldwide Episcopal Church. And I directed everyone, I opened it up on my browser to the Episcopal Church's website and the Office of Government Relations. And I chose a topic that the Episcopal Church has been wrestling with for many years. This was a 2019 summary concerning abortion and women's reproductive health. And it said, over the past several decades, the General Convention has addressed the topic of abortion from a position informed by this ministry and personal lives of clergy and laity within their own families. As a result, the General Convention of the Episcopal Church recognizes the moral, legal, personal, and societal complexity of the issue. The Episcopal Church teaches that all human life is sacred. Hence, it is sacred from its inception until death. The Church takes seriously its obligation to help form the consciences of its members concerning this sacredness. Human life, therefore, should be initiated only advisedly and in full accord with this understanding of the power to conceive and give birth, which is bestowed by God. In a series of statements over the past decades, 17 of them to be exact, the Church has declared that we emphatically oppose abortion as a means of birth control, family planning, sex selection, or any reason of mere convenience. At the same time, since 1967, the Episcopal Church has maintained its unequivocal opposition to any legislation on part of the national or state governments that would abridge or deny the rights of individuals to reach informed decisions about the termination of pregnancy and to act upon them. We continue to advocate that legislating abortions will not address the root of the problem. We therefore express our deep conviction that any proposed legislation on the part of national or state governments regarding abortions must take special care to see that the individual conscience is respected and that the responsibility of individuals to reach informed decisions in this matter is acknowledged and honored as the position of the church. And we discussed this. And then, because we had more topics, went on quickly to the next thing. We went over, as we often did, and at 8 o'clock I signed off, and an alert, a news alert, immediately popped up on my screen. And of course, it was Justice Alito's draft majority opinion to overturn Roe versus Wade. Now I know, it's Mother's Day. This is not a topic that I would have chosen for today, even though I acknowledge that Mother's Day is not part of our church calendar. I've always tried to include Mother's Day in our liturgical Sunday service because of the reality that families are often gathered here to celebrate and honor Mom, who is often the regular driving force to get everyone to church. It makes sense to honor the desire to celebrate moms, both our biological mothers and our relational ones. The issues of reproductive health, including abortion, may not seem appropriate for today, but I believe they are. Such access has saved women's lives, sometimes literally. Other times providing economic stability for families, or even preserving the health of one's body, allowing for a child in the future. President of the House of Deputies, Gay Clark Jennings, wrote this week, "Coming of age with access to safe and legal reproductive health care, including birth control and abortion, shaped my life and the lives of many women of my generation. Our ability to plan our families made it possible for us to use our God-given talents and pursue lives, careers, and ambitions about which our mothers and grandmothers could not have dreamed about." And then there was Allie Solomon's cartoon in the New Yorker, which had a woman trying to sell something to a young woman, and she responded, "For Mother's Day, my mom would like the activism of her youth to not be for nothing." I won't belabor this morning. I'm going to end in just a moment with this reminder that the events of this week are happening under the banner of Christianity. President Jennings implores us. The cause for alarm goes far beyond abortion. The draft opinion argues that rights not explicitly enumerated in the Constitution are protected only if they are, quote, deeply rooted, end quote, in American history. This history, as we know, was significantly shaped by all white, all male electorates that chose all white, all male executives, legislators, and judges. Justice Alito's uncritical embrace of this history is profoundly troubling, especially because the logic of his argument can be employed by far-right extremists eager to restrict access to contraception, recriminalize same-sex sexual relationships, and overturn the Supreme Court's decision guaranteeing marriage equality. As Episcopalians, we have a particular obligation to stand against Christians who would seek to destroy our multicultural democracy and recast the United States as an idol to the cruel and distorted Christianity they advocate. In 2018, our General Convention declared that equitable access to women's health care, including women's reproductive health care, is an integral part of a woman's struggle to assert her dignity and work as a human being. Now, before this outrageous opinion becomes law, we must make our Christian witness the dignity of every human being by insisting that we support the right to safe and legal reproductive health care because our faith in a compassionate God requires us to do so. And President Jennings' words says,
Amen.
Please stand as you are able, class together on page 11 to the Nicene Creed. We believe in one God, Father, the Almighty,